So after you get through that weird phase where you believe in overnight millionairism and all that fun stuff, you start to get a reality check of what trading actually is and what can be actually produced. Typically when that happens, you start to ask yourself this question: is trading worth my time? Well, in today's podcast, we're going to discuss that, and I think these ideas will give you an entirely different way at looking at what type of investment learning how to trade actually is. But you want to be consistent in doing it. Now, I got a question on TradingView. Mark says, is day trading worth it? Yes, if you're good. And that will be the same answer for trading in general. Day trading, swing trading, position trading. If you're good, yeah. If the effort and time put into it is worth the money that you get out of it, then yes. So it's like any investment in life. You're measuring what's my investment versus what's my result. So same thing like a normal job, right? Is it worth working a 40-hour work week for a salary that is under par? Well, no. Is it worth working a 40-hour work week for a great salary and other personal fulfillments? Yes. So trading in general, whether it's day trading, swing trading, the question of is it worth it is all based on what can you produce from it. And then to take it another level, with what you produce from it, does it outweigh the alternatives? Now, the thing about trading is interesting because we can't look at it as, and if you have a follow-up question, let me know. I feel like there may be something more specific. Excuse me, please ask that. Now, the difficult part about trading is when you ask yourself that question, we have to look at it longer term, right? Because if we're just looking at it as money, right? When you first start trading, you're probably not going to make any money. Would you guys agree? Like, you're not going to make any money for a very long time when you first start trading. That's just the honest truth. There is a learning curve of you needing to learn and you needing to develop. And then there's another learning curve of you doing dumb stuff and just being bad. Then there's a learning curve of you figuring out. And then once you figure it out, you may start to make money, but you're still not going to make that much money, right? Especially if you're someone that's not starting off with a very large account size. So the interesting thing about trading and is it worth it is you have to look you got to look at it two ways. You got to look at it in percentages first and foremost, and you got to look at it long term, right? And the reason you have to look at it in percentages and not an actual monetary figure is because that actual monetary figure is always going to be subpar at the beginning. But just like any investment, you're looking at what it's going to be bigger picture. So let's say you are someone that produces 40% a year in your trading, right? And let's say you're starting with $100 account, right? $100 account, and you made 40%. You can look at that two ways. One, you could be like, man, I made 40% a year. I think we'd all be happy with that. Well, maybe not. I'm speaking to there's some people watching on the regular internet right now, and they're going to think 40% is ridiculous. Anybody that knows anything about money would be happy with a 40% return a year. Am I right? Would you guys agree? If you know anything about how money actually works, you'd be quite happy with a 40% return a year. There are some people out there that'll be like, well, Akil, if I can't get 40% a week, it's not worth it. Yeah. Won't even waste money or waste energy addressing that. But 40% on a $100 account, you've only made $40. So one could look at it and say, 40%, man, that's amazing, that's great. And then you look at $40, you're like, that doesn't really change my life. So what you got to do is look big picture, right? Because in trading, you should be somewhat consistent in your return on investment, so that percentage number. And you have to think about what that percentage number is going to equate to once your account size catches up. So you got to think, and it could be depending on how much you hustle, how much you have, how much you can invest. You got to think about, okay, well, I'm making 40% a year right now, which is great. But it's only $40. So it's probably not worth my time if you just think about it from a full monetary perspective. But I got this 5-year plan where I'm going to pick up a second job, or I'm going to reduce debt. I'm going to start flushing some more money into my trading account. And now I'm going to try and grow my account to $10,000. Well, now all of a sudden, 40% on $10,000, that's a different story. All of a sudden, 40% on $20,000, $30,000, $50,000, that's a different story. So it's difficult because you have to think really long term with anything that's an investment. But you got to think really long term as far as if it's worth it. And the easiest way to do that, in my opinion, is just think in percentages, right? Understand what your percentages are. You can know that from your back testing or have a good idea from your back testing. You won't know it until you get some actual years into trading. And then once you get that percentage and you kind of know what your range is, where do you lie? And it should be somewhat consistent. I've been pretty consistent for the last, I don't know how many years, aside from like this one. I've had really good years. I had some poor years that are kind of outliers. But aside from that, it's pretty consistent in my return. So I kind of know what to expect each year, which works good for budgeting. But once you kind of know what you expect, now you can do the second part of your plan where it's like, okay, well, how can I flush as much money into this trading account as possible so that I can maximize that percent as soon as possible? And then it's all compounding after that. But you got to be patient and really make it like a 4-year plan, a 5-year plan, maybe a 10-year plan, depending on, what your situation is. And that's going to be the only way that you know it's worth it. So look at the percentage, look at the long-term picture, and then look at the effort and time requirement that is needed to make whatever that return is. And that will answer your question. Let me know if that helps. Hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. If you want to learn how to trade, head over to www.tier1trading.com. There's a dot in there as well. But check out all of the content that we have available. We've got some free workshops. We've got trial memberships. We've got courses. We've got software, you name it. www.tier1trading.com. See you over there.